Human Services Committee meeting for today, Friday, April 9th. Before we get started, I just want to, just an FYI for everybody. So normally when bills come to Human Services, we're in session, so we normally take our votes outside of the chamber. We know that this year is going to be totally different. Per the rules, we do not have to vote on bills that are referred to us on our committee days. We are open to vote on them anytime. And the reason for that is we have a 7-day timeline to vote on these bills or they die in our committee. So we're very limited with time. So I apologize about the short notice, but you know, it's kind of above our pay scale at this point because, you know, we don't want to kill anyone else's bill because we didn't do it in a timely manner. So
is it 7 days from the time you receive it?
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Okay.
So with that, I'll turn it over to Senator Moore and Representative Case if they have any opening questions. I mean, any opening comments.
Good morning. That's it. Good morning.
That's all she's got.
I just want to say good morning. I know Rep. Wood has another meeting and Senator Berthold has another meeting, and I want to, thank Rep. Aurora for coming. If anybody doesn't know, he lost his father this last weekend, so I want to.
So sorry for your loss.
And thank you for coming to the meeting today.
On behalf of the Human Services Committee, let us just say that we're very sorry for your loss, sir. We know how important our parents are to us. So thank you for being here, and you're in our thoughts and prayers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. And with that, we will move on to item number 3, bills referred to us. First bill is HB 6456, an act establishing a task force to protect senior citizens from fraud. This came from Aging. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved by Cook.
Second by Senator Lesser.
Oh.
I heard Senator Lesser. I just put that in there for him. I know it's hard with the baby. So just a little bit of background on this bill. What this bill does is it puts together a task force. I'm not on Aging, but my understanding is there are these companies out there that are called Medicaid planning companies. And so seniors go to them and they try to help them understand how to spend down their dollars, how to, protect their assets, things like that. My understanding is, and this comes from the elder attorneys, that not all of these people are really, don't have the expertise they should be having to help seniors figure out what to do with their dollars. So what they're looking at is, should there be a license in place? Should there be a credentialing, something like that? So that's why they want to put together this task force. Any questions or comments?
Yes.
Representative Case, sorry, I didn't see your hand. I apologize.
Yeah, so I do serve on Aging, and we had some questions, and I was hoping to get more answers because DSS is opposed to this because they feel as though they have the right protocols in place to deal with this fraud. Understanding that Aging elder law attorneys feel as though there are, as you stated, some agencies out there to help seniors to downspend and have you. But is DSS still opposed to this? Do they because they feel they have the protocols in place to deal with it?
So we did get some, I did get an email from David this week just saying that they still believe that, and I think it's 1 or 2 of the sections that they have some language that they think could address that. I felt that what I would do is reach out to the chairs and see if they're planning on amending it on the floor. We don't amend other committees' bills in ours. So, I don't feel comfortable, especially because I'm not on Aging and haven't heard the testimony. But I think there are some concerns, and I would assume that the chairs of Aging will be addressing it.
Okay, so we feel as though if there is a change and DSS wants to do something, we'll hear further before it gets to the floor. I was just concerned that there are protocols in place. I am concerned about seniors and how they're being coerced or whatever to do things as far as downspending. I like the elder law attorneys to handle this and not an agency, as you stated, are out there, but I guess we can get to the floor.
Thank you, Representative Case. And Representative Master-Francesca.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question for clarification. You mentioned when bills come to us from other committees that they're referred, we don't put any amendments on them. Once they're referred to our committee, they're not really our responsibility? Any changes to it, would they go back to the original committee, or is it in our hands now? It's our bill. Can you explain that?
So it has to go through committees that have cognizance over certain parts of it, right? So that's why it comes to Human Services, because of DSS. But we don't amend other committees' bills because we haven't heard the testimony. What we do on this committee, and I can't speak for others, is after I read the testimony and saw that DSS had some issues, and then DSS sent an email what some of theirs are, I said to them that we will be voting it in this committee to the chairs of aging, and then it's up to them to address those issues. This is a House bill, so it'd be on the floor of the House.
Okay, thank you. So the section that refers to Human Services, that has to do with Human Services, we have no, we can't change any of that either. Not that we want to change anything in this particular bill. I'm just trying to figure out the process. If it's referred to our committee, and it has a specific section in there, would that be something that we would address, or you're saying, no, we can't? Aging committee in this particular case would have to do it.
I'm not saying that we can't, Representative. I'm just saying that that's not the normal protocol. It never has been, as long as I've been a chair of any of the committees. We vote the bill up or down, and then if there are issues, we talk to the chairs of that committee as to what they are, and we tell them at that point, you know, that we have voted it out of committee because it was their bill and they had the public hearing on it. But that doesn't mean that this committee will be voting in favor of it on the floor of the House or the floor of the Senate.
Okay, thank you. It doesn't really seem to make sense to me that if a bill is coming here that we can't, and then like you said, it's not common practice that we can't modify it. Why does a bill even get referred? I guess it's kind of backwards, but I understand.
Yeah, it's just the way that the system is set up, that any committee that has cognizance out of any part, it's sort of like some of our bills have to go to Judish, right? Why do they go to Judish? Because they have cognizance over certain parts of it. So it's a common practice. We have actually 2 bills that are going to Judish right now that we refer to the floor from Human Services. So I'll reach out to the chair, see if he has any questions about it, and then they'll vote it out of their committee. For lack of better wording, it's just the process that we have.
Yeah. Okay. Doesn't make sense to me, but I understand. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Representative Aurora.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I really am very appreciative of the intent of this bill. I think our seniors, and I can say from firsthand kind of even information that seniors receive so much amount of fraud attacks, so as to say, and I think anything we do to help them is good. I think while I see that a lot in Medicare and insurance and many other Medicare insurance and Advantage in many other areas, and especially what you call warranty extension areas. I'm sure that they feel the same in Medicaid services as well. So the intent is something which we should all, which at least I personally feel is very required. The intent is very appreciated because there's a need for us to do more. I think the question always is in public policy, we like to debate is what is the right answer to get this problem fixed, because this problem is a real problem. And the most vulnerable are seniors because at that stage in life, they do feel the insecurity and people prey on them. The question here really is that, as you said, that we would have loved to hear the testimony ourselves and have the ability to ask questions, because I do believe that the DSS should have the programs or be looking at this thing quite carefully. But nevertheless, I would like to be supportive of any measures here, with the appreciation that you are going to speak to both the DSS as well as the chairs to make sure that if DSS needs any more tools, they should have them. But at the same time, if they already have the tools, we should refrain from over legislating things if not required. Thank you, Madam Chair, for giving me the time.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, Heather, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 1, House Bill 6456, an act establishing a task force to protect senior citizens from fraud. And do I have to, this has already been JF by another committee, so I don't need to say JF. Is that correct, Marie?
No, you're still JFing it out of the committee.
Okay, so I say JF to the floor then. All right, so JF to the floor. Representative Abercrombie,
Abercrombie, yes.
Senator Moore,
More, yes.
Senator Berthel,
Sorry, had a mute button. Senator Berthel votes yes.
Representative Case,
Representative Case votes yes.
Senator Lesser.
Lester, yes.
I'm sorry, I couldn't see you, Senator.
Lester, yes.
Thank you, Senator.
You're welcome.
Representative Garabay,
Representative Garabay votes yes.
Senator Cabrera,
Senator Cabrera votes yes.
Representative Butler, Representative Cook,
Representative Cook is a yes.
Representative Dathan,
Representative Dathan is a yes.
Representative Goupil, Representative Hughes,
Representative Hughes is a yes.
Representative Santiago,
Santiago is a yes.
Representative Simmons,
Simmons is a yes.
Representative Stallworth, Representative Aurora,
Rep. Aurora is a yes.
Representative Buckby,
Representative Buckby is a yes.
Representative Master Francesco,
Representative Master Francesco votes yes.
Representative Wood. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Heather. Moving on to item number 2, substitute for House Bill 6229, an act addressing the needs of food insecure students at public institutions of higher ed. This came from higher education. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion, Senator Lester.
Second,
Santiago.
Thank you. So what this bill does is this bill puts together a system so that higher education has a connection with DSS to make sure that students of higher education that qualify for SNAP and other benefits are able to get those services. I think that as we've seen, food insecurity is real. It's not just for younger students, but we're also seeing that in the university system. So I think this is a good way of addressing that, and I would hope that this committee would support that. Representative Case.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's ironic both these bills come from committees that I serve on.
Oh, good.
We had a lot of discussion on this bill in committee, and I was a no vote on it because we have in our Department of Higher Ed, or what am I looking at calling them? Why are we legislating what our places of higher education do? And shouldn't our colleges, our universities on a local level be in charge of figuring out if somebody has a food insecurity? And when we're sticking the legislature in on the higher ed, which we have a full committee that deals with this, what do we do with people that are from out of state? Are they going to work with DSS? Are they residents here? There were a lot of questions regarding that as far as DSS was concerned because of where we would get the benefits from, whether it's TANF or SNAP dollars. But what if they're not a resident of the state of Connecticut?
So SNAP, I'm not on higher ed, so I have not heard the testimony, but I can just tell you from what I know about SNAP benefits, it doesn't matter if you're a state resident or not, as far as SNAP is a federal program that is universal. So the requirements are the same from state to state. So I'm not sure, you know, and I'm not part of higher ed, so I didn't hear DSS's testimony, but I don't see, you know, where that would be an issue.
Well, DSS has basically said, and they said it in our higher ed meeting, that this is an unnecessary. There are other standards, and having a community college here, we actually have a food pantry for people who have food insecurities, to allow them to get other food to bring home if they can't get on the meal plan enough that will take care of them. My concern is just we're pushing more and more onto the higher ed people, where they should be doing this on their own. I mean, we have presidents, vice presidents, and we have people within our higher ed community. I just don't see the need to put another layer on legislation, to put another note that they have to take care of to make sure the kids are taken care of when they should be doing that on their own. And that
So
was the
I'll-
reason why it was a no vote. I just don't see why it's needed.
So I respect your opinion on this. I will just say this, food insecurity is real. We are hearing more and more that it's a real issue, especially through this pandemic. I think that people take for granted that college kids, because they're at college, are taken care of with food plans and other things. That's not the case. And I think that that's why this bill is before us. I do believe that it's a real issue that needs to be addressed. We have SNAP. If your family does not have SNAP, how do you know about that program? And I think it's just one more tool in the toolbox that higher ed should be responsible for. So I will be supporting this, but I understand what you're saying, you know, as far as where you think the line should be drawn.
The word I was looking for, wasn't this something the Board of Regents would deal with? Did the Board
It
of
would
Regents
start
put
there,
that
but
in
then it
place?
would flow through the universities, right? It would be, it's like anything. It has to be approved through the Board of Regents, but then it's implemented at the local level of the universities.
Okay, but in this bill, it doesn't say anything about it going to the Board of Regents.
Yes, in addition to the Board of Regents,
Does?
to
Okay,
consult with
I'm just reading
DSS. It's in
through-
the first paragraph. It's in lines 51 to
Okay.
55.
I stand corrected. I'm reading through my typed out notes from the committee. Okay, I'll let other people ask questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Representative Mastro Francesco.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So if I'm understanding this bill correctly, there's students that are in college that do not have access to SNAP benefits. So my question is, if they were a resident of Connecticut and let's say they lived in a certain town and their family was eligible for SNAP benefits, when they go off to college, they are not eligible for those benefits through the family, or they would have to, would have to be in their own personal name. Is that
So
correct, Madam Chair?
once they become an adult of age 18, they're no longer under their parents. And that's why they would have to apply as an individual.
Okay, and I'm assuming that if they're eligible for SNAP benefits, a lot of the college tuition that is afforded to them is either through a grant or a program in Connecticut or in some form of a scholarship. Would that be correct, Madam Chair?
That part of the bill has nothing to do with human services, so I really can't comment on that. I don't know, and I don't sit on higher ed.
Okay, thank you. And I thought I saw something in the bill for a work requirement. Would you know anything about that? In order to be on the SNAP benefits, there's some sort of a work requirement?
So currently there is a work program through the university system, and this connects to that work program. SNAP also has a connection with that. And I think what they're trying to do in this bill is trying to make it a seamless process for these students.
So, thank you, Madam Chair. So I guess currently in this program, in order for them to be eligible for the SNAP benefits, they have to be participating in a work requirement. But I understand by reading some of this testimony that has been changed to now they are just need to be eligible to participate because of the COVID temporarily. So the funding for the additional funding for this, and I know there's nothing on our end, but that has been expanded because of COVID, if I'm correct. And there'll be more funding coming to that through the CARES Act. Would you know, Madam Chair?
Are you asking? Sorry, I don't know whose phone that. I don't know whose phone that is in the background. I apologize. I don't know what are you referring to the SNAP benefits that have an enhancement? Is that what you're referring to? I'm not sure what you're referring to when you talk about benefits.
Right. So under this particular program, you need to be participating in a work study program, and that language has been changed now to be just eligible to participate in the program in order to receive those benefits.
Okay.
So if that has changed and you have more people now that just need to be eligible to participate, would that increase the cost?
I would say probably no, because work programs are all about, all of the university systems have work programs. So I don't see that being a added benefit, right? That's already part of the norm of the university system. I think what this tries to do is link employment with the SNAP benefits.
Okay, so I guess I don't understand the bill here is that in order to get those SNAP benefits, you have to be participating.
You have to be eligible. You have to be eligible, right? And some students, right? And so they're connecting the work requirement with SNAP. It's to help these students understand that food insecurity, that there's a benefit that they may not realize that they're eligible for. We're here to talk about the SNAP benefits piece, which is the DSS piece.
Right, and that's what I'm referring to, because based on current language, that you need to be participating in a work study program. This part was changed to now just be eligible. So based on that change from participating to just have to be eligible, will that increase the cost? Will there be more people participating in the SNAP program, and will the cost increase?
So SNAP is a federal program. It's paid for by the feds. If someone's eligible for food because of food insecurity, there's no cost to the state, right? This is a federal program, so they should be able to get that benefit. So I'm not sure what your connection is.
Thanks, Megan. My connection is right now you have to be participating. Now it's changed to be eligible. So I understand it's a federal program and the money is done through the government. However, they changed that due to COVID. So they're relaxing it and expanding it because of COVID. That money is going to run out, is what I'm saying, when the pandemic is over. What will happen?
No, it won't.
No.
Only the enhanced match will be gone, but a person's benefits do not change. The SNAP program is not going away. So a student that qualifies now will still be the student that will probably qualify next year and the year after, if that's what your question is. That has nothing to do with what this bill is achieving. What this bill is looking at is making sure that students that qualify for SNAP know that they have that ability through the university system, because not all SNAP kids have parents that are on SNAP. So it's just, again, I'll say it, another tool in the toolbox to help students at the university level.
Okay, I guess if we're changing it now, and I guess this probably should have been a question for DSS. Unfortunately, they're not here, so I can't ask them the question. If right now you need to participate and it's been changed to eligibility due to COVID, when that is over, that eligibility will probably, I don't know, would change back to you must participate. So that's where I'm concerned about the funding on that particular part of it. And is that program going to now go away? Because now it's reverting back to participating. But in any event, I understand that the universities and the community colleges also have programs set up on their website. They have information on there of how people can get information and apply for these programs. Would that be correct based on what the DSS, I'm looking at their testimony? that they already have these on their website to encourage people and give them information on how they can apply for these programs. Is that correct?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Okay, I mean, this is a perfect example of why a bill being referred to a committee, we have no answer to these questions. I understand the concerns, but if a bill is going to be referred to our committee, we should have answers to our questions. It's
So
doesn't really-
Representative, you received this information yesterday. You had the ability to reach out to DSS and ask these questions. I mean, the testimony is there. It's based on that testimony. We're not here to debate discussing this with DSS. You have every ability to do that, right? So, you know, I mean, some of these questions you could have asked DSS, a simple email, and you would have had those responses.
Madam Chair, I agree, and yes, I could have reached out to them, but this is a public forum, and the community and the people watching perhaps could have the same question. So while I understand it's easy for us to just call on the side to get those answers and not bring those issues to the forefront when we're debating this in committee, the public has a right to know, and they have a right to the answers to these questions to see it. That's why we're live. That's why we don't do this in private. The public has a right to know, and the public could have possibly the same questions. And if I talked to somebody and I got that information on the side, how would the public know what those answers are? So I respect what you're saying, but I do disagree with that.
So if my constituents had sent me some questions about this bill, I would definitely have brought them up in this meeting, right? I would have had the answers so my constituents understood it. So if your constituents reached out to you, yes, you absolutely have the responsibility to get the answers to that. But we're not the agency. We're the committee. We're not the agency.
I understand, Madam Chair. Anyway, I listened to or read the testimony from DSS, and they are obviously they appreciate the what we're trying to do with this, but I believe we already have programs in place. It's something I don't believe that we should be legislating. The colleges and the universities need to be accountable to themselves and certainly give all the information out to their students to provide to them so they they have the information available to them. And I think that's their job. I don't think it's something that, quite honestly, we should do. And, you know, these kids are in college and they need to learn how to be accountable to themselves. And I understand it. They're in college and they need to take the next step. So they have to know how to look for these resources. And it's the school's obligation and responsibility to provide that to them, not something that we certainly should legislate. And students also need to be accountable to themselves and seek that out. So I'll be voting no on this today, Madam Chair. Thank you for taking the time to answer my questions.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Aurora.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, just as I mentioned, I would like to say that I appreciate Representative Mastrofrancesco bringing various elements of the bill, because that's what debate is about. That's what discussion is about. It's not about admonishing each other as to what we should be doing and what we haven't done and what could be done. I strongly encourage all members, you know, and my peers and my colleagues to discuss, because we learn upon each other, the public learns, and that is the process which really is great in this institution. So in that line, I'm just going to follow up on Representative Mastrofrancesco's line of discussion and thinking, which is that this program, the way I'm thinking through it, you know, and I spent some time, Madam Chair, you know, evaluating the program, reading some of the testimony, but this is quite a deep and very far-reaching legislation. It is not a light, easy legislation, and I would love a much more rigorous discussion involving all of us with different points of view on this, so that we can really understand it. It's important. And the thing which I would like to bring out here is that at this point, every student who basically makes less than $1,064 a month and it does not have assets is eligible for SNAP. Basically, that's what, and please, this is as much as a statement, as much as a question, because I understand it enough, but as I say, might be dangerous that do not understand it completely. So, which really means that every single student is eligible for SNAP in the entire university system, every university system, but because their parents, once they are an adult, but because their parents typically really, if they can, support their food needs by providing for their dorm program. It's a rare student who's already making $1,000 when he's starting up in college. And now what we are asking the institutions to do is to go around and ask every single student whether they have food insecurity. And I just want to basically talk about the behavioral aspect of how this should be expected to play out, is that over a period of time, you would expect every student to say, well, listen, I would like to access the SNAP program because they are eligible for it. And as a result, a pretty much, movement from the dorm-based system to some kind of university-run system supported by the SNAP program. And perhaps I'm totally wrong and off the mark, and I hope so. But, when I think through what they call the steps in which, this could move in 2 or 3 years, we could talk about, all these students in Connecticut really literally being encouraged to move to the SNAP system instead of their parents supporting their programs. Now, having said that, I do really believe and agree with what you mentioned earlier, that it is the highest priority for me as a representative and for all of us to ensure there is no food insecurity in our country and in our state and in our country. I would be very sad if we didn't do all that was necessary to reduce food insecurity. But I do not want us to be discussing, I don't think it's right for us to discuss because whether food insecurity is important or real, because all of us, I think, want to address that. I think what we want to address is the way, the technique and the policy measures we are using to address it, the right one, and can it be improved upon? So, I would like to ask this question of you. Perhaps you can answer it. Do you think that this creates a not intended consequence of really expanding the SNAP program over a long period of time, over a period of time, and not really focusing on those who are food insecure? Because I would say there will be a lot of hesitancy for kids who are, or for students who are, children who are food insecure, to really participate in that survey and come out and say, "Hey, listen, I'm food insecure," because if they really had that situation, that they would have come out anyways. So my point is that we are not addressing the real issue in this bill because a broad survey to identify those who are food insecure is perhaps not as effective, but having a small office, which perhaps schools do already, which privately seeks this information through other, corresponding measures would be more effective. So my first question: do you have any views or insights into the fact that this could really lead to a very unintended expansion of the program, because all we're doing is trying to see, hey, listen, can all students avail of SNAP?
So, Representative, it's not the purview of this committee to give my opinion on something. If you have a direct question on the language of the bill, I would be more than happy to respond to that.
So perhaps, as I said, I just come from a good spirit of discussion, and I understand that perhaps that is not the purview, the specific element you would like to discuss. What my question next would be that, this is not this bill in section 1-C, also not really refers directly to the SNAP program, but says such services or programs may include but not limited to, and links 5 or 6 elements of how the program should be, right, or could be: allowing students additional meals through extra card swipes, providing financial assistance or the financial student aid. And that's where I really follow up on Representative Case's comments earlier, which were very well said, that, why do we want to really, go upon the school systems, the regions, and and other higher education institutions who are doing their job quite well in their own science. And so we are basically not only talking about food, we're talking about many other associated programs. So even if it were to be focused on food insecurity or providing, making sure nobody goes hungry, which is, as I had said over and over, is a very, very important thing for me and for pretty much all in this room or in the committee. Why basically go on financial aid, focus on, fruit and vegetable incentive program? What if there is a child who really does not want to be incentivized by fruits and vegetables, but might want to eat, meat or whatever, that's not the purvey of the bill should not be to influence priorities and moral education on kinds of foods. Although I do like my own children eating fruits and everybody possible, my friends and all of us eating more fruits and vegetables. But I don't think that's something we should be legislating. That's something basically. So my point being that, again, this, do you think that section C, the 5 elements, really serve the purpose required? Madam Chair?
So Representative, I think you're getting a little off course here. If you want to talk about the kids getting SNAP benefits, that's what we're here to discuss. The bill came from another committee. It did not have a public hearing in Human Services. So I think that some of the questions you're asking are outside the purview of this committee. We're here to make sure that students, 30% of college students do not have access to food because of their financial income. Their student loans, their financial aid does not cover food through the school system.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And that's exactly what my objective is and our objective is. But I think we can't get a purpose done by repeating the purpose over and over. I think we get the purpose done by evaluating the policy proposals or the action the bill is proposing. A bill works not by its intent. A bill works by the measures and the force it has of our state authorities and our state resources. And so I do think it's a very reasonable discussion to be had to discuss the elements of the bill and what it brings. Especially this bill really goes far beyond SNAP and says such services or programs will not be limited to and may include assistance and support for enrollment in SNAP, very well said, and then provide low-cost food or plant options on campus. Now, the first one is what we have been discussing and you have been saying, and we agree because that's a federal program. We know the cost is being already paid for in the appropriated for in the federal system. But what about the number 2, provide low-cost food or meal, in allowing students additional meals? Should we be striking all of those down and focusing it on SNAP so that everybody understands this is basically to make sure that every child who is food insecure be connected with SNAP on the campus?
Is there a question there?
Yes, should we be striking down section 2 to 6 of number 1C and focusing on the substance of the bill, which is the SNAP?
No.
Why not so, Madam Chair? Because I think that's really an overreach, because as we've been discussing, that the SNAP is what we really want to focus on.
So then you have the ability to vote no, and you have the ability to do an amendment on the floor of the House if you feel that section needs to be striked down.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I rest my case because I do want to discuss this bill more, but I think discussion is by virtue is not admonishment, is not basically one person looking down upon the earth and cutting anybody down, but it's basically a spirit of give and take and perhaps logically construct the argument because we learn from each other. With that, I do think I'll not be supporting of the bill, not because I do not support the intent, I really do. And I think we can do it better and we should do this, and no child, and as a matter of fact, no citizen of our state should ever go hungry. That is our commitment and that is our need and that is what we want. But I think this is not what the bill does. This is what the bill says. And we will definitely work, if this comes to in the Assembly, which I hope it does, to address this through amendments in a better way to address the problem. Thank you, Madam Chair, for giving me the time to speak today.
Senator Lesser? Senator Lesser? Representative Buckby?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think this has been some hearty conversation, food for thought, with all puns always intended. But there was a spot that I was concerned with when you mentioned a really valid point about us being opinion to letter of the law. And we're here working on legislation. This is letter of the law. So I think that's critical for us to move anything forward from the committee that it be solid in that way before it hits the floor. I think that's imperative. And I believe that us not being able to amend puts us in a really tight spot, that we can't change some of this language that may be concerning. And I point out on the bill, lines 17 through 20, based on the results of the survey administered pursuant subsection B of the section, great. Each institution shall amend any existing or established new services and programs to address the needs. This is really open-ended. I don't think it's fiscally sound because it's really, really open-ended. I don't think it's a fair statement. As we mentioned, should the SNAP benefits dry up, this law now leaves us holding that note no matter what it is. And it also does include providing financial assistance or other financial student aid. So to me, that has nothing to do with SNAP benefits or feeding them. This goes a lot further. It opens the door for us in fiscal responsibility, for it literally says new services and programs to address the needs. That could be, let's build a whole new building that is a kitchen. I mean, really, it's very vague and open-ended. So while I truly, like Rep. Arora just said, truly appreciate the intent of what the bill is trying to do, I think some of these words that are in here, some of these lines are way too vague for us to pass as law. So it's not a bill I can support at this point, but I would hope that should this pass through, that those be buttoned up, that we take that responsibility because this really, I just don't see it as a fiscally responsible bill because of those open-ended pieces of it. And that's, as you mentioned earlier, Madam Chair, that's the letter of it that I'm concerned about. So I'm hoping that's something you've seen and want to address should this go forward, but the way it's written now, I can't support it.
Thank you, Representative. Senator Lesser? Okay, moving on, Representative Case?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just one last point. When people do go to our universities, obviously there's a FAFSA or there's some sort of financial aid. And I believe at that point, the university or the school will know the financial status or lack thereof of the students coming, and those programs should be offered. I don't think, once again, we need to legislate it. As I said, in higher education, I think the Board of Regents does a fine job. And I think that we're just overreaching, and this is something that it's common sense that our presidents and vice presidents of these universities and community colleges are paid to do. We just want to keep adding on and adding on. So for that, I will be no if it comes to a discussion on the floor. Maybe we can get some amendments on it. But I want to thank everybody for coming forward and asking questions, because we usually don't have a chance to talk about bills that are referred, but we have an option now to talk about it. We're voting something out and we have to be able to understand it. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative. Senator Lesser? Okay, any other further questions or comments? Seeing none, Heather, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 2, substitute for House Bill number 6229, an act addressing the needs of food insecure students at public institutions of higher education. JF to the floor. Representative Abercrombie.
Abercrombie, yes.
Senator Moore.
Moore, yes.
Senator Berthel. Representative Case.
Representative Case, no.
Senator Lesser.
Senator Lesser, yes.
Representative Garibay.
Representative Garibay votes yes.
Senator Cabrera.
Senator Cabrera votes yes.
Representative Butler. Representative Cook.
Representative Cook votes yes.
Representative Dathan.
Representative Dathan votes yes.
Representative Goupil. Representative Hughes,
Representative Hughes votes yes.
Representative Santiago,
Santiago votes yes.
Representative Simmons,
Rep. Simmons votes yes.
Representative Stallworth, Representative Aurora,
Aurora is a no.
Representative Buckby,
Representative Buckby is a no.
Representative Master Francesco,
Representative Master Francesco is a no.
Representative Wood. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Heather, how many of our members are not on this Zoom?
I see about 5 people have not voted on the last item.
Okay, Representative Case, do you think 2 hours would be long enough to keep the votes open?
Yeah, I think Senator Berthel's just in another meeting. He can vote, and I can text Representative Wood, who is in district meeting, to get on a vote. So I think 2 hours is fine.
So we will keep the votes open for 2 hours, which will bring us till 11 o'clock. I will entertain a motion to recess this. Go ahead, Heather, what?
I have 9:46,
10 o'clock.
11:45. Does that sound good?
Yes, that's fine.
Thank you.
I will entertain a motion to recess this committee.
So moved, Santiago.
Second, Cook.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Hello, Representative.
Hi, how are you?
Good, it's good to see you.
You too?
Thank you for
So-
joining.
Yeah, so we must have finished up quickly.
Yes, it's just the two referred bills, so I will read you them in order. So the first one is, oh gosh, yeah, sorry, that was the wrong order. Item number 1 is House Bill 6456, an act establishing a task force to protect senior citizens from fraud. That's a JF to the floor. And how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you, Representative Goupil. All right, so that's a yes. And then the second one, Representative, is item number 2, substitute for House Bill 6229, an act addressing the needs of food insecure students at public institutions of higher education. Representative Goupil, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Thank you so much. All right, so we're all set. And I don't know, I have no idea how often this will happen, things getting referred to us, but I will keep you posted and give as much lead time as I possibly can.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Hopefully,
Bye-bye.
am I the last? Are you done for the day?
No, I have a few other things, but yes, in terms of committee stuff, this is it. So I hope you have a nice Friday and things are.
You too.
All right.
All
Take care now.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
weekend. Bye-bye.
Hello, Senator. Welcome back.
Sorry, I'm muted.
No
I got,
worries.
I got a 10 o'clock meeting. I'm crazy this morning for a
Oh,
Friday.
I know. I'm so sorry that this
No,
came
it's all
up
right.
out of nowhere. Yeah, it's
That's
just
all right.
scrambling when we have these last minute referrals. So
That's all right.
and,
You know what?
and one of the things.
Everyone gets all bent out of shape. It's like, come on, guys, just, it's the process. Get used to it. I mean,
And the thing is, I think everybody knows we're all doing the best we can with,
Sure,
the
sure.
circumstances, and that, and one thing that Representative Abercrombie, she said we have 7 days, but when we're actually in session, we actually only have 3 if they're actively in session. So it might be
oh, is
even
that
tighter.
for referral?
Yeah.
Oh, I
So
didn't
right.
know that. All right, that's good. Yeah, look, Jay was like, oh, this is, and I'm like, Jay, just come on, man. It's like, well, if we were in session, we'd be outside and doing this in the hallway out in front of the chamber and everything, and we're not, and blah, blah, blah. So, at any rate, it is what it is, right? So,
Right. There's pros and cons of everything. I mean, I very much wish we were in person, but hopefully this in some ways it makes it easier for some people to be able to vote remotely, that they don't have to necessarily be in Hartford
Exactly.
to vote. So
Exactly.
anyway, but thank
All
you for
right.
coming back. So
Yeah,
and I know you got to go. So
I'm a no on the second bill.
Okay, let me just read it for the record, though, if you
Sure.
don't mind. So it's item number 2, substitute for House Bill 6229, an act addressing the needs of food insecure students at public institutions of higher education. Senator Berthel.
I vote no.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Have a great day.
Enjoy your weekend. Thanks.
Yes, you as well. Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.
Hello, Representative.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Thank you so much for the text. I got the messages and I'm not sure what happened this morning. It just slipped my mind.
There's a lot going on still. And I think, when our committee process was over, we're not expecting to have another committee meeting so quickly, but we have these referred bills and Representative Abercrombie was explaining that we only have the 7 days to act on them from when they're referred to us. And
Gotcha.
then, but when session is actively in session, then the time limit shrinks to 3 days. So, I apologize for the late notice on these.
No,
but,
no problem. No, I had ample notice. It just slipped my mind.
All right, so we have two bills. So the first one is item number 1, House Bill 6456, an act establishing a task force to protect senior citizens from fraud, a JF to the floor. How do you
Yes.
vote? Thank you, Representative Stallworth. All right, and then item number 2 is a substitute for House Bill 6229, an act addressing the needs of food insecure students at public institutions of higher education, a JF to the floor. Representative Stallworth, how do you vote?
Representative Star votes yes.
Thank you very much. Well,
All right.
have a great Friday and a great weekend.
All right. You too. All right. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Hello, Representative Wood. You're on mute.
This is a little weird, but it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Okay, good morning, thank you.
Good
And
morning.
on Rep Wood on 6456 is a yes?
Oh, wait, hold on. May I read them to you for the record?
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
So item number 1 was House Bill 6456, an act establishing a task force to protect senior citizens from fraud.
Yes.
Thank you, Representative Wood. And
Rep
item
Wood is
number,
voting yes on that.
thank you. And item number 2 is substitute for House Bill 6229, an act addressing the needs of food insecure students at public institutions of higher education.
Rep Wood is voting no.
Thank you, Representative Wood. You're all
Thank
set.
you very much. Have a good weekend.
You as well. And I look
All right.
forward to seeing you in person before too long.
Absolutely. Take
Take
care.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, Representative. You're on mute.
Thank you.
So good to see you.
Good morning, Heather.
Thank you so
Good to
much
see
for,
you.
thank you for coming to and taking the time to vote. I know it's a very busy time, so thank you for making this, making time for this. Thank you.
Thank you for making it available.
Well, we try to make it, you know, there's so many challenges this year, whatever we can do to make it more user-friendly is a good thing, so.
Yes.
And all right, so there's just 2 items. The first one is House Bill number 6465, an act establishing a task force to protect senior citizens from fraud. And how do you vote, Representative Butler?
Representative Butler votes yes.
Thank you. And then the second item is substitute for House Bill 6229, an act addressing the needs of food insecure students at public institutions of higher education. And both of these actually are JF to the floor. I should have said that earlier. And so Representative Butler, how do you vote?
Representative Butler votes yes.
Thank you very much. And I hope you have a great weekend.
All right. I hope you have a great weekend too.
Take care now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.